Hey everyone, welcome to the Not a Lonely Coffee Break podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Meaghan. This is a podcast about coffee and work, but make it queer.
But make it queer. You know what, Meaghan? I have been struggling a little bit with, and I know you and I talked about this earlier, but just struggling to find a balance between doom scrolling, working, and like spending time with my loved ones. Because it's just like when you have your phone, it's so easy to just like go on social media, go on Google, go on Yahoo, go on whatever platform you use, and something is there.
Waiting for you to take you
Just-
in.
It really is. I think it is. It's like, hey, remember me?
I'm here. Come click me. Yeah, it's been a struggle. I've realized in the past, I would say few months, I guess we're into month 2 of 2025. I've been really trying to itemize my life out and be like, okay, this is how much time I'm spending on work. This is how much I'm spending on podcast or my volunteering, and then my life, And I'm like, what really makes me happy? What makes my happiness tick?
Right.
And it's becoming an existential crisis. I'm not, it's been quite an interesting thought process going on.
I think it's also been kind of hard for me too, because, I don't know about you, but I actually know some people that have been laid off at some of the companies that have been being discussed in terms of massive layoffs. And it's been kind of hard for me to think about like what I can say to like be uplifting and encouraging to them, because it's, it's hard because it's like there's nothing anyone can say to encourage
to make
and
it better.
uplift me.
Right.
It's also been hard because it's like even though it's been different circumstances, I've been kind of in that feeling as well. And so it's like, so I've been struggling a little bit with that, just hurting for them, but not really knowing what I can do to encourage them.
Right. Yeah, there's not much you can say. I mean, when someone's getting laid off, it changes your entire life, your quality of life, the safety of what you've created or what you've been working on. And then not to mention just the safety of your family. So it's, with what's been going on, we're talking about the federal layoffs or the federal mass layoffs that they're planning on doing, I think I read that 3 million people employ the federal government. That's 3 million people at risk. They won't all lose their jobs, but those are people that are thinking right now, what is my plan B? What is my plan C? How are we going to survive if this happens to us? And not only that, you have your retirements and retirement plans and your insurance and everything that's just been tied into this that you've been working for X amount of years is all now at risk. So, how can you deal with that? And so, yeah, it's just got me thinking, I think it's hard because you're like all this stuff that's out there that's putting your life at risk. But how do I continue to stay happy in those moments,
Yeah. I think maybe, I know something that I have been reminding myself of is that I think honestly is a good reminder just when we're not in terrible times like we are now, is kind of reminding myself to like take in those small things. Like I don't have to feel joy all day or feel happy all day, but like, is there something that I find that, makes me laugh or that helps me not think about it all for a moment? And so I think that is kind of helping me a little bit. So I have started, and I don't know, people can make fun of me for this. I don't know. I have started finding some joy as I'm doom scrolling. I have, how every now and then you find like, I don't know, that kind of content that you're just like, oh my gosh, I love this.
And then you can't stop watching it.
And then you can't stop watching it. And you're kind of like, why is this so satisfying for me? So I recently have found myself getting sucked into, I don't know if this is what it's called. This is just what I'm going to call it. Yard talk. And it's people who take videos, make content of them basically doing yard work, like mowing, weeding, edging, mainly yards or like public spaces that are like overgrown and a disaster. I just find it so like satisfying to watch them mow that grass.
You're just like, I
and
love this edge.
Yeah, edge those nice clean lines.
You're like,
and for the 5 minutes that I get sucked in watching part 1, because there was literally one that there were 9 parts.
how big is this yard?
You better believe I watched all 9 parts of that guy.
And
taking
afterwards,
care.
You were satisfied.
Oh my gosh, it looked so good. It was actually this guy who I guess he was driving past this area in his community where there was a particular section of sidewalk that had been taken over. Like no one had like upkept it or anything. So like the grass had started growing over it and stuff. And there was trash, broken glasses and stuff. And so he was like, people aren't able, I thought it was really sweet, right? People in his community weren't able to walk because the sidewalk would essentially stop. So then they would have to get in the street, go around this area. And so he's like, I want to make it sort of like safe for people to come through here again. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. And it took him like multiple days.
Wow.
Or nine videos. And he actually like kept apologizing because he was like, y'all, the ground is frozen. Like I'm not going to be able to get a perfect edge. I'm going to have to come back in the spring when the ground isn't frozen.
Wow.
And oh my gosh, it still looked so good. I was like, I don't even like that edges look great. Like you can see the sidewalk. People can safely walk in your community. It was fantastic.
Oh, you're gonna have to send this to me.
And for a split second, like for the 9 parts that I watched, I did not once think about what nonsense was going to come out of our government.
Yeah, that's nice. That's actually a pretty good feat. I mean, considering it's
I know
overwhelming and overbearing and nightmare fuel at this point. Yeah, no, I haven't really had much of a video give me joy in a while. I mean, I stopped using TikToks. I think I might be having withdrawals, like the dopamine hits. Before I was like, I could just it would easily just find me the videos that I wanted. I've been really struggling trying to find that balance. Just really,
yeah.
What makes me happy, so I've started going back to therapy, which was
Shout
a big
out to
step.
Therapy.
Yeah, so take care of your mental health. I had to make a intentional effort, like hard effort, because I haven't been going for quite some time. And I knew that I needed to go back. So I'm pretty proud of myself for that. But there's always deep down in you when you go to therapy and you're just like, fix me. And it doesn't turn out to be. It's not that. That's not therapy, guys. So, so I'm just going to try and work on myself, kind of figure out what brings me joy. And I think that we should all do the same, right? Because it's really easy to detach and what is a lot of people like saying now is disassociate and just kind of just numb yourself to everything that's around you so we don't have to deal with it. But long term, it's not helpful. So
it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. It's not good for your productivity either.
No, and I think that's of course I follow Representative Jasmine Crockett because she's a Dallas native, but I also follow AOC. And she's actually talked a little bit about that because one thing I really like about AOC is that she is intentional about doing like social media lives to kind of update at least her constituents or her people that follow her of like things that are happening from her perspective and everything. And she did one a while back where people could send in questions and stuff. And someone kind of asked her this and was kind of like, how do I, like, I know I want to be informed. I want to be aware of everything going on, but like, how do I make sure that it's not overwhelming me? Where my mental health is being jeopardized. And she actually encouraged them, like, you might have to set boundaries about how long you're online. You might have to not have your news on 24/7. And then, of course, finding things that you enjoy doing. And she's actually now started to do her live, I've noticed, and she's knitting. So she's been like, she's not just telling us find things, like she's also demonstrating something that helps her, I guess. And she's like, I'm knitting. Here's what I'm knitting. My first go around. So I appreciate that, yes, we want people to be mobilized. We want people to be talking about this, saying it's not okay. But I think it's important for people to also protect themselves and their mental health. And I think hearing from people that we know are really in the thick of it, like AOC, she's there every day.
I can't imagine.
People who are there in the thick of it, having these conversations with some of these people that we see on the news, for her to be able to say, like, yeah, it's okay for you to unplug if that's what you need to do for your own wellness.
Right.
I think is really important, and honestly really shows, I think, strong leadership.
Yeah.
I will not be knitting.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about, I've had this scarf that I've been knitting for like the last 2 years. I'm going to finish it one of these days.
Was it always going to be a scarf? Or did it start out as something else and then you were like, this is a scarf?
It was actually a gift for somebody. And then I took so long on the scarf, I have decided to cut ties with that somebody. And so it's not even for them anymore.
I was going to say, do you even remember who it was for?
I remember, and I'm just like, I'm good. And so now it's just the scarf sitting, waiting to be finished and maybe gifted to somebody else in my life. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But you know what? Maybe it just wasn't meant to be.
Y'all, the unfinished scarf is sitting in the 2 boxes of empty wine bottles that Meaghan also has.
Maybe. Okay. It's my project box.
She's going to make a project that involves all of it.
All of it. I don't know what it is, but there's a vision in my head and it will come to fruition. Okay? I don't know. And it will make me lots of money. That's the whole goal.
I mean, I'm here for that. I'm definitely here for that.
Yeah. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you. I'll let you know when the scarf is done. Lordy.
She says this as the next time she gives me something, it's going to be a scarf.
It's going to be a scarf 2 years from now.
Yeah. And
I made this for you specifically. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that actually would be pretty funny. And then I expect you to wear that scarf, so don't just. And I think that's why I didn't gift it to that person, because I don't like the idea of taking so long to do something, and then I'm like, this person may never really like it the way I want them to like it. So they did.
This just sparked something. Was this person like a coworker that you had at one time? I was going to say, because sometimes, okay, so you know how like when you, we just had Valentine's Day recently, right? That was sort of the last big holiday. So you know how like when you're in school or whatever, especially elementary school, you like make these little Valentine's Day boxes and they're like, okay, everyone get your classmates a Valentine's Day card and put it in their little box. Feel like that tradition or that theme just kind of continued into adulthood, where there's sort of this thing that like you have to give gifts to your coworkers, even if and you're like, I don't really like my coworker.
But you feel obligated to get them something.
Right. Or like you feel awkward if you're like, well, I like this coworker, so I'll get them something. And then you're like, well, that means I have to get this person something because their feelings are going to be hurt.
Yeah. Honestly, you're right. Whoever started that trend, go back in time and stop it, because gifting coworkers when you really don't want to give them stuff is like, it's the worst because then you're like, oh, and then you're spending all this extra money. I mean, yes, you know what? Kudos to you if you're strong enough to just not care. But I am not one of those people. So yes, I
No,
will
I'm the
gift
same
everybody
way.
equally.
I'm the same way. I try, especially if I'm part of a smaller team or unit, then I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to make sure I get a little something for everyone. But then I also feel like it sometimes takes away some of the specialness.
It really does. It really does. So just create those boundaries. Again, boundaries. We're coming back full circle here. And you don't have to give them a gift if you really don't want to.
I've gotten some good gifts, like from coworkers.
It was
But
met
they
with
were
love.
from people that like I feel like I had they were good coworkers, you know. We worked well together. And it wouldn't I feel like sometimes they weren't even associated with like a holiday. One time when I was leaving an organization, someone that I worked closely with for a couple of projects got me like a going away gift that was just really thoughtful, and it was really inexpensive. She kind of just put stuff together of things that I liked.
Yeah.
And it was around Halloween, like that was the next holiday coming up. So she put it all in a Halloween like trick-or-treating plastic bucket.
That's cute.
I thought it was really cute and meaningful, and
it's to appreciate you and the work you've done.
Yeah, to show like she appreciated me and valued me.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think, you know, talking about finding joy in the small things, everything going on and all of our workplaces that are being impacted, I think that is something that is one of those things that is important, right? Who are the coworkers that you are still working with, that maybe you guys can lean on it together and do small little things for each other. You don't have to buy them a gift, but maybe it's just having a coffee break with them when needed.
When needed. That is the best gift of all time.
Because, you know, we spend a good chunk of time with coworkers. So we should be able to be able to kind of lean on each other a little bit when we're going through something tough.
Yeah. Yeah. The ones that you trust, of course.
Of course. The ones that you trust.
Just the ones you trust. No.
And make sure that you can easily put anything into a 5 bullet point email.
Oh Lord, No.
Let's talk about that real quick, because that is another thing that I think a lot of people are finding small joy in. Yeah. So anyone who might be, I don't know, living under a rock, or maybe you are one of those people that did sort of disconnect for a little bit. The hot goss that's been happening right now is that many federal government employees in all different agencies, like it wasn't just one specific agency. If you were a federal employee, you could have received this email from everyone's favorite immigrant.
Oh my gosh. Is that what they call him?
No, that's just what I just referred to him as. And notice I put, those of you that aren't watching and you're just listening, I put air quotes around it. Favorite immigrant. Employees were asked to respond to an email that was sent out listing their accomplishments of the previous week in 5 bullet points only. And of course, when I first saw
your
it,
manager.
At first, when I saw it, I was, I'm not gonna lie, Meaghan, I was slightly triggered.
Yeah, I was definitely triggered.
Because I'm pretty sure we've received emails like that before.
I definitely have, yes.
I think we've even been in meetings before where we've been asked, well, what did you do? I don't know what you did all day. It's like workplace toxicity to the max, I think.
Yeah, that was, you know what? Yeah, I would say that that's the root, you know, because we definitely have experienced that. And then also the press conference, I think there was something along the lines where Trump was like, we need to figure out who these people are and what are they doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? Who are these people? What are you talking about? I don't know. It's just seems...
No, I do. I think that they really do think there's like millions of fake people.
It's crazy.
in the federal government.
I just yeah, so it was definitely triggering because it's coming from, an oversight agency that is supposed to be managing waste, fraud, abuse, okay, but in the workforce. But like what is this going to help you with? All I could think is going to help you put people into certain groups based on their responses and use that information against them to make decisions. So and then, I mean, agencies were like, well, hey, like a lot of what we do is pretty confidential, so don't respond. But it's also, dangerous to the workforce. They don't know what they might be giving them. They don't, it's so thankfully a lot of people did not respond.
But I also know that there were some people that were responding who weren't even federal employees and did not receive this email, but they were getting a lot of satisfaction sending emails back or sending emails to this address saying, here are my 5 bullet points of things that I did this week. I fed my animals. I went to the grocery store. I scrolled on TikTok. I laughed at a funny video. I went to the bathroom. And so they're just sending random things. And you know what? I say if that gives you joy, if you have a moment of happiness from sending that email, more power to you.
Yeah, that would, I'm curious how many people they got. And I would want to see copies because they're probably super funny.
And I think people have been like posting stuff that they sent.
I would have to look that up.
I have also seen a few people though making jokes about it, like this 5 bullet point email thing has gotten out of hand. Mainly it's coming from like spouses, and they're saying things like, my wife just emailed me at midnight asking me for a list of things that I did during the day around the house.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to say that I haven't done that. I will not put myself in that.
I've never gotten that email, but sometimes, and I think I just do it to make myself feel better. I've never like been asked, what did you do? But sometimes if I have a day that I have felt particularly lazy, I feel like I go out of my way to tell my spouse, who's listening to this, by the way, love you. I go out of my way to say, look at all these things. Today I did this. Today I did this.
I'm so proud of myself.
Yeah. And then I realized maybe I wasn't as lazy as I felt like I was.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's a nice way to show appreciation for yourself. Hey, I did something today.
Yeah.
And that's good enough for me.
Yeah, I'm sending the email to myself.
But also proof to my spouse so she can no, I'm not, just laying around.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an ongoing battle for me. I'm always kind of nitpicky. I'm the spouse that's so Gail, I need to know what you did today. And at what time you did this.
Yeah, I think context matters. Maybe you do have a spouse that is struggling, and this is hypothetical. I'm not saying your spouse is this person, Meaghan. But maybe someone does have a spouse who maybe does have a mental health disorder and is really struggling with that. And so it's kind of a way to lovingly encourage them to do things, which is
or
hard.
Check in.
Right, or check in, which is sometimes hard and might be a little bit more subtle than being like, were you feeling sad today? Instead, it's kind of like, what were you able to get done today? So I think context matters. But in the context that it's being used in the workplace, we are not here for that.
Yeah. It's not an effective way to get information or analyze productivity.
No, I don't think
that. Just by the way, it's just a way of it's a scare tactic. It's a way of control, and it's a scare tactic. I can't see. And then, like I said, just a way of collecting data, because they were going to use AI just to go through the whole list. What are you going to make the AI make a decision on who's getting cut based off that 5 bullet point email?
Yeah, exactly.
Good grief. I have no words.
No, it's definitely red flaggy. And this is something that I know I kind of struggled with even when you and I were experiencing our eerily similar tech was, and someone said this to me, like I didn't make this up, but it just really stuck with me. There are some people out there in the workplace that are bosses. And then there are other people out there who are leaders. Leaders are people who can inspire their employees. They can encourage them, uplift them, and honestly, I think help them feel passionate about the work that they're doing, even if it's like mundane type of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But a boss is someone who's just going to nitpick and is just continuing to hound their employees and say, like, you need to be doing better. This is not good enough. You are terrible. Blah. And so
Mm-hmm.
and that's where we move. And so I always just kind of, if I use the term boss, I feel like it's my way of saying, like, do better.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, for me at least, I want a leader. Yes, I do think leaders sometimes do have to hold people accountable, right? They do have to
Mm-hmm.
sometimes be able to say, you're not doing your job
Right.
effectively, but they do it in a way that isn't going to demean that person as a human being.
Right.
And I think we're seeing a lot of bosses out there who aren't inspiring anything but fear.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's rude.
And we're done with you.
Yeah.
Please go away.
Hashtag canceled.
You're fired. Goodbye. Yeah, that was my biggest thing this past week. It literally, yeah, it was very, very stressful, distracting for me this past week. So I hope everybody out there is doing okay. And like we said earlier in this episode, take some time for you. Kind of take a step back, figure out what's good for your mental health right now, what gives you joy, because I think, at the end of the day, the only person that can really do that for you is yourself, and so no matter how small it is, just really take some time to figure out what that might be and gift it to yourself.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Gift it to yourself.
Yeah, gift it to yourself.
You're the best coworker
TM.
for yourself.
You're your own best coworker.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I feel like that should be an inspirational quote. You're your best coworker. Let's put it on a mug.
Let's put it on a mug. That's hilarious. Yeah. So.
No, but for real, we just want everyone to know that we are here. We want to continue to bring you messages that will uplift you and encourage you, as well as maybe sometimes share some information and our thoughts on everything going on. But we do know that it's important to sometimes take a step back and talk about something else. So please share with us some things that you are doing that bring you joy during some of these times of uncertainty, times of nonsense, whatever word you want to use. But we would love to hear from you guys on things that you're finding help you feel a little bit better about everything. And know that we are also here for you. You're part of our community. We love drinking coffee with you, but we are out for today.
It's empty.
It's empty. But as always, again, thanks for listening. Make sure that you are following us on social media. You can find us in all of the places except Facebook.
No Facebook.
Yeah, no Facebook. As well as making sure that you are following the show, subscribing to the show, and sharing it with your friends. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple.
Give us a rating. 5 stars, please. Just 5. 5 all the time, every time. But yeah, give us a rating, share with your friends. We'd appreciate it. And with that, I believe we are complete.
You complete me.
Be
Thanks
your
again.
best coworker.
Be your best coworker. Thanks again for joining us for the Not a Lonely Coffee Break podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Meaghan. Cheers,
Cheers, queers.